and welcome back to the 500 workshop. So we've done the front part of our wiring loom, we're now going to do the rear. Now again, as you can see, I've labelled up all the individual cables on the rear loom, so I've done that already as per the wiring diagram, and I've also wired up all the cables on the car as well. Let's just take you down so you can see some of that. So I've got labels on all the wires around the car. Now with the rear wiring loom, it runs all the way to the front of the car, and it runs down past the passenger seat along the floor. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is take out the loom through that hole and feed the new one through, and do the work at the front of the car first, and then come back and wire up the rear here. So I'm going to go to the front of the car and unhook all the old wiring first. So the wires running from front to rear are all in this specific area, and I can see that they go through a hole just down here through the car. So I've labelled these up from the front wiring loom already, and all I'm going to do is disconnect these ones here. So let's pull those apart. A pair of pliers might help us a little bit here. Be careful of the paintwork, but they are little tough little things to pull out. Okay, so they're unplugged. There's also, I have another 3 wires which are coming out of the binnacle itself, so I'm going to remove those as well now, unhook those. Taken some pictures and hopefully unhooked those. There's one that runs into the ignition as well, so I'll take another picture of that before I withdraw it. Pull that through. Okay. These will come. Okay, so we seem to be off there. Now we need to remove the connections to the fuse terminal here as well. And I think that is us free. And now we should be able to pull the cables through the car. So we'll do that now. So we've got the cables here. I'm going to pull it through the hole. And there we go, it's come through. I've already lifted it out from the carpet and loosened it already now to come out the back of the car, so that's where we'll go next. So it's a bit dark here, but this is where the cables are coming through, just here. So what I'm going to do is start pulling, just checking the other side to make sure everything's coming nice and smoothly. Oh, the rubber grommet here has come out. We want to keep that if we can. So let's pull the cables through and then try and take it off. And there we are, the old loom is now through the car. And finally we have that off. It's not perfect, but I think we can reuse it. Right, so we're going to take this gasket and start feeding the new loom through it. One of the other challenges we've got here is that I've labelled everything up, so the labels need to go through as well. So I'm just going to take my time and do it slowly. Here we are, so it's now on. I'm going to feed it along the wire up into past this point for sure. There we go. Okay, now we can try and feed this through our hole in our chassis until we get to that stop point. So I decided to take a slightly different approach in that I've just got some cable ties and tried to wrap parts of it together. So, because there's only me, trying to feed that through that hole is quite difficult because I can't pull from the other side. So by doing that, I'm hoping that they'll go through in groups and it'll be a bit more easier and I can go and pull and push as needed. So I'm going to try and put this through now. Take this bundle and try and push it through. Okay, good. I can see it coming through the other side. The main bunch. Okay, that's got the majority of it through. I'm going to go back into the car and pull it through to the front. Okay, so we've managed to pull this tangle of wires through. Now we need to try and untangle it again and work out where everything is going to go. And probably the first thing I need to do is trim off the little cable ties that I put on in order to feed it through. Now, I know this long black one here goes to the mirror on the inside and a little button on the inside of the car at the front of the door here. Now, this seems to be part of this loom, and the back end of this seems to be halfway down the actual loom that's still inside the car, and I'm not quite sure why or how, but I need to probably separate it somehow. But I'm not sure whether I want to do that before or before or after I've connected everything. I think I'm going to do it as a secondary thing, just so I can make sure everything else works first, all the important stuff. I'm going to feed these wires through this side. So this was 430, so this is a one that goes in our fuse box. Go, it's plugged in. I know this chunky red one is the same. Just trying to get the other wires out of the way so I can get in here. Like with the other one, actually, they've again put too much black tape on this, so I need to get a little knife and take that off. Otherwise it's not going to make contact in the way we want. Cut this away. Okay, that's now open. Should be able to slot that on in. There we go, nice little click. Okay, now the front end of the loom to the back end of the loom should all be here. So we should have a yellow to yellow. Nice some plugs. We should have a brown to brown. Should have a red to red. We do. I just need to work out which one of these is blue black, which is this one, and blue black is this one here, and finally blue to blue. You can put sheaths back over the top protect them, and we can heat those up in a while to actually shrink cover them, but for now we'll just make sure they don't touch each other when we're testing the loom. Okay, so that's that bit of the loom done. Let's see if I can, not sure how easy it is to pull the black through. Let me just try and go around and see if I can pull it through the entire loom. So actually in order to pull it all the way through, cut the actual connector off, because I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to feed it to where it needs to go anyway. I'm not sure how on earth I do that with the connector on. So we're just going to take this out of the loom and sort it all out. Sort this particular one out on its own in a second. So we're left with these, which is grey, green and blue. And these want to go through onto the binnacle, so we'll take those through. and this blue one here wants to connect back onto the ignition. It needs a different connector. So attached a different connector now for the ignition switch. So these are going to go back through with the binnacle, and this can go up here into the ignition. It's fitted. I'm just going to go in and connect the binnacle switches. Okay, so just off camera there, I have fed the black rear view mirror cable around the frame, pushed it through, connected the old cable to the new cable just by tying some bare wire off the cable together, and then pulled it through with the door switch. I'll take you around and show you where the door switch is in a second, and just put a new connection in there. So all the front now is done, and we should be able to hook up the rear. Also need to put the gaskets back on actually, so I will endeavour to do that shortly. So the door switch I was referring to is just here on the inside of the door. That's a 11 nut. Just get a ratchet on there, unscrew it, pull it through, and there's just a spade connector on the other side. And all I've done is connect that up and tighten that back up. So all the front wiring done. We can now make sure everything aligns up along the side of the car here, and then start doing the back. Okay, so I've managed to put all the kind of rubber grommets back in, and we're just left to wire up the rear of the loom here. Now I'm tempted to kind of start this side and go round. So start this corner and go round, and that allows me to remove the loom as I go and move the pieces out the way. Just need to work out which piece is which. So this is definitely the piece that's going to go round the back here. So that should leave me here with the remaining pieces that I'm connecting to. So I know that those will be the dynamo, and that these will be the lights, and that will be the distributor, I believe. So these should be the lights, and what am I looking for here? I'm looking for a brown, a blue, a double red, and the double yellow is the rear number plate light. So let's first of all take a picture, make a note of which colour goes where. And then we can unplug, it should be blue at the top. Make sure we don't damage the bulbs as we do this. Blue, red, brown. Pull this out, make sure not to scratch the paint. That's one side. So we've got our blue, red and brown, which we need to pass through the back here. Okay, so that's nicely through, and now I can reconnect this up. So it was blue at the top. There we go. There we go. Nice. Okay, so that's put together. I'll have to secure these lights back on the car because the connector at the top here actually provides the earth. Just here provides the earth on this. I got this the right way up. I don't think I have. Problem when you put it down on the floor. I forget where and how it's meant to go. Is that right now? Yeah, that should be good. Alright, so that will go back on in a moment. Now we've got the distributor one here, but I'm going to put that on in a second. The first thing that I'm going to do is the dynamo, and it looks like possibly a 7 and a 10. Try the back one first. Is it a 7? No, looks like it's an 8. Yeah, that's an 8. Okay. So this one comes off first. We'll put our new cable on. Let's hope that it fits. It does not. Connector's too small to go over the top of that. So I think I'm going to have to. It's an odd size as well. No, it's fine. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to put a different connector on there. Let's see if I can find one. Okay, I've managed to put the cables on the dynamo, and I've connected the distributor cable as well. Now I can start to kind of move round to the left, and start at the back here and work my way round. Okay, so we've only really got 2 tricky bits left, and the light on this side. The 2 tricky bits are, one is the regulator, just because from this angle it's not easy to get to the connections, and also the cable that goes onto the starter motor. Pretty much for the same reasons. I can't even see the connection there. I know it's down the back, but I can't see it. And then we've got the headlight to complete it. But yeah, it's we're not too far away now. Okay, I'm going to do the regulator next. So the first thing I'm going to do with the regulator here is just actually try and take all the nuts or bolts. I'm not sure quite what they are until I get them off. I think they're actually just small bolts, and from what I can see, I think they're going to be 10s. Right, okay, got the black one. lost that. Take the, try and move the big air hose a bit so you can see what's going on. Help at all? Oh. We have a clip, which I'm guessing held the nut. And we're looking for the nut. Let's check the floor, because often they'll go onto the floor without you knowing. No idea what just dropped. Nothing of any importance. Good. Okay. Might be looking for another nut. We lost one of the clips as well, so I'll have to put that back on. I do have a habit of just disappearing these things. And God only knows where they've gone. Okay, that's one down. Let's try and see if we can get the others. I've cleaned these little tiny kind of brackets up, and I'm also putting in some new, much shinier, much fresher washers as I put it back in, so hopefully any electrical connection is a bit better. Right, so I need to find the cables that I'm attaching, which are around here somewhere, and the first one is going to be green. That's interesting. It's so big that it's not going to let me use the square bracket, unless it's meant to go on like that, but I don't think it is. I think I'm going to put it on without that bracket, just because it's not, otherwise I don't understand how I'm going to do it. Should be finger tight, that's good enough. Now we've got the black one in the middle. Yeah, that's on. Okay, last one. Okay, that's on. Now we need to remove the old loom from behind here. So only a few attachments left on this, which is great. We're back with our 13 ratchet. I'm going to go around the back onto the starter motor. Let's see if I can feel for it this time. Okay, here we go. If it's the right size, it is. Okay, good. Didn't feel tight. Hopefully we'll be able to do it up a bit tighter this time. Okay, so on here we should have our main power supply, which can come off, and I'll just bring up that, and then our brown cable. Just give this a wipe, and then we can bring our new Loom round. Back here, and we're putting our brown cable on first. Oh, just going to wipe the thread as well. I feel like it's had some oil on it at some point. Nice and tight this time. Now we just have our light and our what's it called? A connection for our oil pressure. So take that out of the way. This is so grim, this cables. I mean, look at the hands. I'm going to take one final picture of this light so we can put it back the way it needs to be. There we go. Yellow, red, blue. Now we should be able to disconnect these final ones. Pull that through, and we have all the rear wiring loom out. What a mess that is, absolutely filthy. And before I plug this nice new one back in, I'm just gonna go and clean up first. We're back with clean hands. Oh, careful here. So last wires to come around here, and we've got our grey, which is for our oil pressure gauge. I remember what it is one day. I haven't put the shield on that at the moment because I just want to get everything working, and then I'm going to go around and tidy up and make sure wires are all in the right place, nothing's touching where it shouldn't be, because I just want to know things are working before I start making everything look good. So 3 wires going through. Okay, let's just check our picture. So it was yellow. That's a nice connection. There's a red here, followed by blue at the top. Okay. Great. I'm just going to fit these lights back on so that they're in the right place and they have the right grounding, etc. This is can be a little bit of a tricky task. In the right place? I think so. Looks like it's going in. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. I'll just leave it like that. It's good enough, as they say. Okay, so everything's in place. I should just now be able to put the fuel tank back in temporarily and see if we can get everything started. Make sure everything is working as it should. So put the fuel tank back in temporarily, wired that up, put the disconnect back on so we have power from the battery. Just making sure that none of the cables are touching anything that would get too hot, and then we'll see if we have ignition.